I was born by the river in this little tent. Oh, just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming. Oh, I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to the movies and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me, boy, don't hang around. Oh, it's been a long time coming. Oh, I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. But then I go to my brother. And I said, brother, help me, please. But he
trade. It's incredibly important that we continue to keep this show every day on the streets, in our communities, and keeping the pressure on our decision makers and those with economic links to supporting genocide. The decision makers in Leinster House might be gone on holidays, but we cannot let the pressure up, because without any justice, there will be no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
No justice,
no peace.
No justice, no peace.
My name is Michelle Byrne, and I'm a commission member of the mighty South East branch, and we campaign across Waterford, Kilkenny, South Tip and South Wexford. I'm glad you're here today. I'll be emceeing today, but you're not here to hear from me, because we have an incredible lineup of speakers. Now, we don't want you just to listen to them, but I want you to hear and heed their messages today. And that key message today that we want is to stop arming genocidal Israel. And before we get the first speaker onto stage, let's get a rousing chant going. No arms, no way. No arms through Ireland today. No arms, no way. No arms through Ireland today. No arms, no way. No arms through Ireland today. No arms, no way. No arms through Ireland today. Woo! And our first speaker up today is Zoe Lawler, who's been doing incredible work as the IPSC chairperson. Zoe is a Limerick native who has been campaigning for Palestinian rights as part of the IPSA for 2 decades. She is also a co-founder of the Gaza Action Ireland and has spent a week in an Israeli prison after being kidnapped by in international waters on the Irish ship to Gaza. So I want to give you a massive welcome to Zoe Lawler.
Hello everyone. It's great to see you here and to be all together again to show our rage at apartheid Israel's crimes and to share our grief and our heartbreak at what is being done to our Palestinian sisters and brothers, and to show again our unbreakable solidarity with the Palestinian people. We will never go away, and we will never stop speaking out for Palestine. How can we even count all the massacres in Gaza since the last time we came together? The Rafah tent massacre, the Nusrat massacre, the schoolyard massacre, the Al-Mawasi massacre, and all the daily mass murder perpetrated by Israel. We must mark and mourn them for their families and communities and for our shared humanity. We hold dear every single precious Palestinian life that was stolen in this mass killing. At least 40,000 people murdered, 90,000 injured. A study in the Lancet said that the death toll could reach more than 186,000 people. 90% of the population has been forcibly displaced multiple times. Huge numbers of people have been forced into Al-Mawasi with no infrastructure, and this is Israel delegating some of its killing to disease and exposure. And we can see that bombing tents is even more lethal than bombing buildings. United Nations human rights experts have said Israel is carrying out a targeted starvation campaign that has resulted in the death of at least 35 children, a form of genocidal violence causing famine across all of Gaza. The old, the sick, children are dying of hunger and dehydration. Polio virus has been found in the sewage. This is a crime for the ages. The forced starvation of a population, all while blocking food, medicine, aid, water. Every single Palestinian that dies in Gaza of malnutrition or disease has been murdered by Israel. Their genocide comes in many forms. The worst level of child malnutrition in the world. The biggest mass disabling event, the biggest cohort of child amputees ever, the highest death toll of journalists, the most UN workers ever killed, over 500 medics murdered, hundreds of medics detained, At least 9,240 Palestinian students killed. All UNRWA facilities destroyed. The most schools attacked. All the hospitals destroyed. 21,000 children missing. Elderly women and the disabled set upon by military attack dogs. Routine mass executions of families in their homes. People used as human shields. Ecocide, domicide, scholasticide, genocide. And these are just the headlines. Each one of them a horrendous record, and each one of them a stain on an international community that includes the Irish government that enables, arms and funds this. The destruction, displacement, pain and trauma is unimaginable. Whole communities gone. Generations of families wiped out. The people will take decades to recover, and Gaza will take decades to rebuild. All the little children with no one to mind them as they deal with catastrophic injuries and trauma. All the bereaved people with no space to grieve. All the frightened, exhausted, starving people. We have a duty of care to them to do everything we can to stop this genocide. None of this should be happening. It should all have been stopped on day one. Thousands of Palestinians have been incarcerated in Israeli dungeons and death camps where they are subjected to severe torture, sexual violence, starvation, held in shackles for months, not allowed to wash or to speak or to move. We have no idea how many people have been murdered in these prisons, but we do know of at least 2 Palestinian doctors from Gaza who were tortured to death. Dr. Iyad Rantisi and Dr. Adnan Al-Bursh. Testimony from Israeli soldiers in Gaza shows an army free-for-all violence policy with soldiers shooting Palestinians for fun. They filmed themselves ransacking people's homes, desecrating mosques, blowing up buildings and hospitals, stealing and mocking Palestinians that they have most likely murdered. And they do it because they can. And if we weren't here today because of the genocide in Gaza, we would be here because of Israel's crimes in the West Bank. Since October, at least 553 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces and settlers there. 132 children have been murdered, and over 9,000 people have been detained. The biggest land grab since Oslo in 1993 is underway, with new colonies being built, and the ethnic cleansing is constant. Refugee camps are under sustained attack, and airstrikes are now regular in the West Bank. Palestinians all over are being dispossessed, incarcerated, terrorized and murdered by Israel. And we will never forget, and we will never forgive the hypocrisy and the racism that sees media and politicians rightly condemn attacks on hospitals in Ukraine while having nothing to say about every single hospital in Gaza being bombed and destroyed. About doctors tortured to death, patients murdered, mass graves. We will never forget that when Israeli forces murdered 273. We stand with the heroes of Palestine, of Gaza. We stand with the people who rebuild hospitals, who grow plants, as the refugees return home and the prisoners walk free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, and then we will all be free. Free Palestine!
But next up, I'm absolutely honoured to be welcoming the absolute Irish trade union stalwarts of Mary Manning and Liz Deasy. 40 years ago, Mary and Liz, as a young woman in John Stewart's Henry Street, refused to handle a grapefruit from apartheid South Africa. This began a heroic strike that lasted 3 years and echoed across the world, all the way to the dungeons of apartheid South Africa. Ultimately, the strike was victorious, and the Irish government banned all produce of the import of South African produce. And I was honoured to hear Mary's story and Liz's story last night as we mark the 40-year anniversary. And we all should be absolutely honoured to have these women here today. So please welcome Mary Manning, Liz Beasley, and Molly Monroe!
Hello, I'm afraid I'm not going to be as eloquent as any of the other speakers, so you'll just have to listen. Yesterday was the 40th anniversary of the strike, where our trade union, IDATU, was mandated now, passed a motion to ban South African goods, which came down to our store in Henry Street. And when we received the policy, we didn't know really much about what was happening in South Africa, but we were having a lot of problems there, so we decided that we'd follow the policy, which ended up in Dunn's suspending me and the rest of the people walking out in support. This started a strike that lasted for 2 years and 9 months. As we were on the picket line, because we were learning what was happening in South Africa, it became much more than a policy to us. It became more than a piece of paper. It became something that we actually believed in. As a result, 2 years and 9 months later, the Irish government banned South African fruit and veg coming into Ireland, and it was the first country in Western Europe to do so. We need a similar action now for Gaza. We need Palestine we need the trade union movement to get involved, for people who are working to get involved and ask their trade unions to pass similar policies to help out. And you don't have to go on strike for 2 years and 9 months, but it means that you can, if you have the backing of your union, at least you have something when you say to your employer the reason why you are refusing to handle the goods. We're also calling on the government to do something. It took our Irish government 2 years and 9 months to decide that South African goods were being produced under slave or prison labour, which gave them a loophole to actually bring the boycott in. I'm sure there's more than any kind of a loophole now for what's happening in Gaza every day, what we see on our screens. We didn't have that in the 80s. We only had what was coming in on the news daily, or even not even daily. So there's no excuse. We need to boycott Israeli goods now. We need the government to get involved and trade unions to get involved. And start in a small way and work your way, keep going. We all support what's happening now, and the movement in Ireland is growing, as you can see. So I'm going to finish there because I haven't done this in a long time. So, free Palestine.
Absolutely incredible to hear the stories of when and how boycott, divestment and sanction works. And I think that those workers deserve a good chance now. When workers' rights are under attack, stand up, fight back. When Palestinian rights are under attack, stand up, fight back. When workers' rights are under attack, stand up, fight back. When Palestinian rights are under attack, stand up, fight back. And as a proud trade union member myself, it's great to see the trade union block out today and all the trade union flags and tenants union flags down the back. Really important that we keep showing up, and we need to show our union power, and we've plenty of inspiration for the likes of the Dunn Stores workers, and we can and should do more for Palestine. So for our next speaker, I'm going to welcome up Walla Sabi. And Walla is a journalist and director of operations at We Are Not Numbers, and this is a youth-led Palestinian non-profit project in Gaza, which tells the stories behind the numbers of Palestinians in the news and advocates for their human rights. We Are Not Numbers, its vision is to create a new generation of Palestinian writers and thinkers that provide the world with direct access to Palestinian narratives, which is hugely important at the moment. So I'd like everyone to give a big welcome to Walla, who's coming to the stage.
Friends of Palestine, friends in humanity. It's been more than 280 days of genocide, of ethnocide, of eliticide, of femicide, of bidicide, of mass murder of innocent Palestinian civilians. Since October 7, Israel killed 48,794 Palestinians, including 16,172 children and 10,789 women. This is only the number we know of. Thousands more have been disposed and decomposed without ever being registered in hospitals or even being identified by their own families. This is not all. A study by the Lancet expects Gaza's death toll to exceed 186,000, which means that 8% of the total population in Gaza will be obliterated and wiped out of the civil registry. It's been 7 months since the ICJ called Israel to stop its mass destruction, and 5 months since the UN Security Council called for an immediate ceasefire. But since then, Israel has occupied Rafah, despite the many warnings, and killed thousands more civilians in Al-Mawasi, in areas they designated as safe zones. They have deliberately starved hundreds of thousands to the north of Gaza, roughshoding over the international law. It was only yesterday that the International Court of Justice judged that Israel's presence in occupied Palestine is unlawful and is the obligation of Israel to hold its newest activities in the settlements and to evacuate all settlers and make reparations for the damage they caused in occupied Palestine. Since October 7, Israel destroyed over 37,000 housing units, accounting for more than 70% of Gaza's total house stock. A UN Development Program administrator said they haven't seen anything like this since the Second World War. Today, we are witnessing a live-stream genocide and ethnically cleansing of Palestinians that has been ongoing for 75 years. We are witnessing government warmongers complicit in war crimes against Palestinians without facing any legal consequences. Today we're witnessing policies and rules being imposed against the Palestinian content to censor our voices and our voices advocating for Palestinian rights. This is not just a demonstration. It's not only a call to stop this war in Palestine, but it's a gathering to show our rooted and unconditional support for Palestine and justice. Today we are here to clearly state we stand for human rights, for Palestinian rights, for freedom and independence. Today we are here to say no to the genocide, not under our names, not under our names. Today we are gathering to say no to starvation, to clearly tell government we will not give up.
And now we're going to welcome a performance from the amazing Katie O'Connor. Some of you from Galway will know Galway. I think Galway's over in the front. Some of you from Galway will know that she's a prominent busker, and she's played on stages on stages and streets throughout Europe. So with her voice and her guitar, Katie's going to deliver us into a realm of uncertainty and vulnerability, touching on unity, change, spirituality, and love in all its abundance. Today she's going to perform her new song called We the People. So a big round of applause for Katie O'Connor.
Hello. How are you getting on? Free? It's a gift to be able to sing this song for you. I can't really take credit for it. It was Margaretta Darcy, the wonderful Margaretta Darcy, who asked me to write a song about her manifesto. And everything she's spoken that was truth, and everything that she's spoken that was a dream that we all have. A dream of a free Palestine and a freedom for all of us, and an end to this barbaric system that we're living under. So it's called We the People. Make Galway City a beacon of peace, endorsing our neutrality and ending our complicity with the US war machine. And then the GCC can fly the flag of peace
with no hypocrisy. Oh, to live, mad, bad and dangerous, we the people rising up. Oh, to live, mad, bad and dangerous, we the people rising up. Mad and dangerous. Reserve Shannon Airport for travel, not war, for business, not body bags, and God knows what more. When they won't search the planes, as a terror it rains on Gaza, she cries, stop the genocide. All the children are our children. Stop the genocide. All the children are our children. Stop the genocide. Oh, to live, mad, bad and dangerous, we the people rising up. Oh, to live, mad, bad and dangerous, we the people rising up. We really need local assemblies so we can speak amongst ourselves and build communities and social health see eye to eye. We must unionize as the warmongers they breed by seeding half-truths and divide. Unwaged workers in the home, pay 'em, greedy landlords. Ball and chain 'em, maybe yes or maybe no, but when there's 60,000 homes waiting vacant and 14,000 people sleeping on our streets, give me a vulture to the landlord nation. Now that's the real abomination. Oh, to live, mad, bad and dangerous, we the people rising up. Oh, to live, mad, bad and dangerous, we the people rising up. Bad and dangerous. And finally, to be truly free, we must recognize the sacred ties between the clay, the sea, the skies, and all that roam, and call this home with rights of their own. May justice be our cornerstone. So will you sing with me, all the children are our children. All the children are our children. All the children are our children. A bit louder. All the children are our children. One more time. All the children are our children. So reserve Shannon Airport for travel, not war, for business, not body bags, and God knows what more. Won't search the planes as a terror it rains on Gaza, she cries, stop the genocide. All the children are our children. Stop the genocide. All the children are our children. Stop this genocide. Thank you very, very much. Free, free Palestine!
So I also want to give a shout out for an upcoming gig if you're into music. The Gig for Gaza, organised by the SIT2 Solidarity, Global Solidarity Campaign. They are doing a gig on Thursday the 26th of September in Liberty Hall with a huge amount of heavy hitter when it comes to musicians. So do check out the SIT2 pages for more details on that. Our next speaker is John Lannon. John is a founding member of the organisation Shannon Watch, which many of you might be familiar with. It does a brilliant work monitoring and opposing the US military use of Shannon Airport in Irish airspace, more than our own government does anyway. And he has been an anti-war campaigner and a human rights activist for decades. And he's also actively involved in promoting and protecting the rights of refugees and migrants. So please give a big round of applause for John Lannon from Shannon Watch.
Good evening, everybody. It's quite disgraceful that we still have to come back here 9 months after Israel started murdering people indiscriminately in Gaza. It's also disgraceful that our governments, all the governments of Europe, including the Irish government, have not taken any effective action to put pressure on Israel to stop this killing. Most of you probably know that a recent Lancet report said that up to 186,000 or more deaths in Gaza since last October can be attributed to what Israel is doing. It's genocide. Now, what's also disgraceful is that the Irish government is allowing Israel's largest weapons supplier, the US, to take military planes and military personnel through Shannon Airport on the other side of this country. Shameful. Since October 7th, the Biden administration has sent Israel at least, this number is staggering, at least 14,000 2,000-pound bombs. Just one of those bombs will severely harm or kill everybody within a 35-meter blast radius. In Gaza, that's a lot of deaths. And 14,000 of those bombs have been sent over by the US. Shipments from the US have also included things like precision-guided munitions, small-diameter bombs, bunker-busting rockets, other lethal weapons as well. They've sent at least $14.5 billion worth of military aid to Israel since last October. According to some reports, there were so many arms shipments going at one stage that the US Department of Defense struggled to find enough cargo aircraft to deliver them. Can you imagine? They were sending weapons, lethal weapons, at such a rate that they couldn't quite deliver them as fast as they wanted to. What we know is that the US have also sent warships and military aircraft into the eastern Mediterranean. The troops that are going onto those warships may be coming through Shannon Airport. The people arranging the arms deals with Israel may be coming through Shannon Airport, probably are coming through Shannon Airport. Weapons parts may be coming through Shannon Airport, may also be coming through Irish airspace, because we have almost daily US military contracted flights coming through. Just last week, we recorded a US Air Force C-40 that travelled through Shannon from the US over to Tel Aviv and Israel and back again. So there is complicity. Shannon is involved in supporting the genocide.
Thank you very much. I just want to thank people for their support. This has been a long campaign, and it's going to go on and on until Palestine is free. So thank you for your support. There will be, it does cost us to put on these demonstrations and other expenses as well. So if you can, there are people going with the sign around, and if you want to scan to make a donation. And if you could make a standing order for as little as €5, it will be big help to us that we have a continuous stream of money, or whatever you call it, a continuous income to keep working on it. I mean, we're volunteers, but we do have expenses as well. So thank you very much for all your support so far. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Next speaker up is Senator Alice Mary Higgins. And many of you will know Senator Higgins as the leader of the Civic Engagement Group in the Shannon, and she's committed to bringing the voice of civil society to the Oireachtas. She's the driving force behind the arms embargo bill to restrict the transfer of munitions, weapons and dual-use goods to Israel by or through Ireland and other countries that have managed to do it, and it's disgraceful, particularly as we're supposedly a neutral country, that we haven't already done this. So to tell us more about this is Senator Alice Mary Higgins. A big round of applause.
Thank you. So the Convention on Genocide is really clear in the call it makes to all countries, to all people. Take all necessary steps to prevent
the crime of genocide. And all of you marching today and marching in different parts around the world is people marching because those are necessary steps. People taking action, people putting their feet on the ground to demand that action be taken for ceasefire and against genocide. But sadly, is our government and is the European Union doing all? Are they taking the necessary steps to prevent genocide? No, they are not. Shame. We heard from John Lannon about what passes through Shannon Airport. And we have to remember, every time we see a child dismembered, every time we see a school flattened, every time we see another family who've lost their home, each time a weapon falls in Gaza, that weapon has reached the Israeli military, and it has come from somewhere. And we need to look to the UN. Human Rights Council have called for arms embargoes. Basic humanity demands that we end the flow of weapons. But right now, Ireland is continuing to do what they've done for decades, which is an eyes wide shut approach to what goes through our airports. Shame. To be clear, this is important. John Lennon had it right. It is actually not legal to bring weapons or dangerous goods or munitions through Ireland unless the minister says it's okay. Being clear, Ireland, we're a neutral country, and one of the benefits of it is we actually already have a ban on these weapons, but the problem is we don't enforce it, and we had last year 1,000 exemptions for flights, civilian flights that went through Ireland with weapons, munitions, or dangerous goods. 1,000 exemptions and no inspections. Shame! Our arms embargo bill, it's really simple. We literally were saying, stop giving exemptions, demanding inspections. But to be very clear, the minister, I want to say, because we've had a lot of, I'd like to do some spot checks and we'd like to think about it in the medium. Being clear, under Article 8.2 of the Air Navigation Carriage of Munitions legislation, the minister can choose. And each time the Minister of Foreign Affairs chooses to let a military flight through, that is a choice that has blood on its hands. And each time the Minister for Transport chooses to give another exemption, that choice has blood. And it is not. It is ridiculous to tell us the flights aren't going to Israel. Because the largest amount of exemptions granted to flights here in Ireland are to the US and Germany, the two biggest arms suppliers to Israel in the world. The US, we've heard about the weapons they've sent. They couldn't find enough planes to fit them on. But Germany, from 30 million in military exports to 300 million in military exports last year. But shame. But let's talk about Ireland. The last part of our legislative piece, dual-use goods. This phrase, we hear it, it sounds dual-use. These are tools that can be used to kill. These are tools that are used by military machines to target civilians. We hear often they're technology. Technology that works as part of a machine of war. A machine of war, one of the most advanced in the world, that has managed to target ambulances, target hospitals, and yet somehow is never used to avoid killing 15,000 children. Shame on that technology. But so Ireland, not only are we permitting the transit of these dual-use goods, not only are we leaning in to business as usual, but it's worse than business as usual, because Ireland's export of these weapons to Israel, we went from 10 million in money on dual-use goods to 70 million last year. 53 million that Ireland has seen in dual-use goods that have gone through our country since October. Each time, we do not know how those weapons may be used, how those technologies will be used to kill. That's why, and this is important, I'm going to come just to the other things we can do, because all of us want to see what we can do. Ireland tomorrow, Ireland can deny licenses to travel with dual-use goods through Ireland. Tomorrow, Ireland can choose to inspect and ban exemptions on flights. We can do these now, and it is, frankly, grotesque to have ministers claiming their hands are tied when the hands and legs and arms of children in Palestine are being torn apart each day. And when Gaza right now has the highest level of child amputees in the world. But let's talk one more thing that Ireland can do, that it must do. Yesterday, the ICJ, and it's the last thing I'll read, the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, they told us what we all know, that Israel's occupation of Palestine is illegal and unlawful. They told us what we know, but what they also told us, and this matters, is that you cannot simply talk the talk or weep the tears for human rights violations. You need to follow through with action, and that may be action that means you have to make some people with money uncomfortable. So let's be clear, on trade, the International Court of Justice has stated that all countries, all who's held by international law, must abstain from entering into economic or trade dealings with Israel concerning the occupied Palestinian territories, which may entrench their unlawful presence in that country, and must take steps, real steps, to prevent trade or investment that helps maintain the illegal situation by Israel and the occupied territories. This is the International Court of Justice, and yet we have...
Definitely not last before least, he's someone we are incredibly lucky to have with us today. Salah Al-Tanini is a survivor of the Gaza genocide, and he's going to speak to us about his family managed to escape, or some of his family managed to escape, and he's lost many, many family members to Israeli bullets, bombs and brutality.
Hello everyone, I want to express my heartfelt thanks to everyone here for giving me this opportunity to speak about my people in Gaza. My name is Salah Al-Tanani, Palestinian from Gaza, and I have been living in Ireland for almost 2 years. Recently, I reunited with my wife and our children, Celine, who is 4.5, and Muhammad, who is 1.5. My family, they spent 200 days of a genocide in Gaza, facing bombing, destruction, hunger and fear. During that time, I lost the hope for ever seeing them again. My wife, a regular message due to the disruption internet and electricity, told of their daily struggle and their uncertainty of their survival. I clearly remember her telling me she couldn't find any food for our children, a situation that made me wish for a bigger heart or a longer life to appear the pain. My daughter Celine asked me when I would bring her here safely to Ireland. Why? I always thought about my son Muhammad, who was born after I left Gaza and whom I had never met him before. Unlike other war-torn regions where aid is accessible, Gaza faces severe restriction on food, medicine and fuel. Despite this, people of Gaza remain resilient, carrying hope of their heart and teaching us a lesson in patience and strength. My wife's decision to move to the south of Gaza after 190 days in the north exemplifies this resilience. She journeyed for over 3 hours with Muhammad tied to her chest and Celine by her side. Passing the tanks, shelling, plants, rubble, and the body and dead body of the people in the street. The Israel army stopped her midway and interrogated her, but she managed to reach the south. Eventually, I got their names to the exit. I got their names on the exit list to the Rafah crossing to Egypt and then to Ireland. Tragically, a day after their arrival, my wife learned that her sister and cousin had been killed and some family member injured in a room where they had been sleeping together with the children before coming here to Ireland. This is just one of the countless stories from Gaza. The safe arrival of my family was only possible thanks to the incredible effort of many people. I am deeply grateful to everyone who helped, especially the Irish people for their kindness and continuous support. As we stand here, I want to take this opportunity to address the ongoing genocide in Gaza. Over the last 9 months, the genocide has claimed more than 40,000 lives and injured over 90,000, over half of whom are children and women. This wouldn't have been possible without clear support from America and some Western countries that provide Israel with endless funds and weapons. Meanwhile, the world silence is deafening as aid, water, medicine, and food are kept from Gaza. However, Gaza is still dying. Gaza is still starving. Gaza is still bleeding. Gaza is still thirsty. Gaza is still surviving. We are here to say enough is enough to the loss of innocent life, the displacement of thousands, and destruction of homes. We demand a ceasefire now and urge decision makers to reconsider the policies to work to a free Palestine. Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
To all who detest injustice, charge life, and despise deceit, to the free people of Ireland standing against this genocide, your support give us a hope amidst darkness. Your solidarity show that justice and humanity transcend boundaries. Your voice, reaching across distance, make a huge difference in our life. Finally, thank you all for compassion. Please know the people in Gaza hear your voices and send that message. Keep going. Free Palestine.